the new lifestyle for those transformed people. The lives that have been transformed. That's the new lifestyle. Okay? All right. Like new babies, toddlers, when they learn to walk, like penguins, right? They will learn. If the baby does not want to start walking, there's something very wrong with that baby. Same thing. If you do not want to start living out the Beatitudes, there's something wrong. You don't have that life. Okay? By first repeating God's deliverance of the Israelites from Egypt, the Jews were reminded the law was given after the undeserved deliverance from slavery. Their lives now belong to Jehovah. Obedience to the law is totally our gratitude. The word gratitude and grace are really, again, two sides of the same coin. Grace, gratitude. Grace, gratitude. Okay? And now let me at this point, grace not only delivers us, grace transforms us. Grab that concept. Grace not only delivers us, grace does not only save us, it transforms us. In other words, you cannot say, I have received grace with an untransformed life. Can't. That's just oxymoron. It's contradictory. You cannot have this grace without your life changed. Unless you haven't owned that grace. You only heard about that grace. Yes, that's possible. But if you have owned that grace, your life will be transformed. Grace, no, allow me to do, my analogies are not perfect, but I hope they will illustrate a point. If someone, a patient of mine has very severe pneumonia, I give them a very, very expensive pill. And there's some like that. I tell them, do you this is a very expensive pill. I found it for you. As a sample, whatever, I got it free. And I'm going to give it to you free. Do you believe that I know the best pill, best medication for you? Yes, of course. I know you're using so. Okay. Do you believe this pill can help you? Yes, of course. Okay. I'm going to give this to you. So this patient took the pill. Thank you very much. I'm going to hold it close to my heart. I tell you, it won't help them. It won't help them. Does not matter how firmly he grabs. Okay, nobody's going to take this away. Nobody's taking it away. This is mine. This is mine. Until he swallows it. Until he owns it. I believe this is what Jesus said. You have to eat my meat and drink my blood. You have to let me get inside. So often we emphasize on faith, right? So, Dr. Young gave this to me. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for so many years. I believe him, so I told him. And he's giving it to me free. Now, taking the pill has nothing to do with whether you pay for it or not. It's important. If you have to pay and you cannot afford it, then you won't have the pill. I grant that. But having it free does not cure you. Think about that. Because so often we emphasize the gospel is free. And the emphasize the gospel is through faith, received by faith. But I tell you, faith and being free will not change you. You have to own it. You have to swallow it. You have to take it. You have to eat it. Now, if you understand that part, then the concept of grace would appear differently to us. So often we ask people to make decisions. Decision to what? To take the pill from the doctor. And then to what? Oh, I treasure it. I tell you, many Christians, quote-unquote Christians, churchgoers, that's a better word. Churchgoers, they talk the gospel. They treasure it. But they haven't swallowed it. It's scary. Those are the people who are most difficult to evangelize. Recently I heard this clip from a talk by John MacArthur. And the topic just attracted me so much. He says, how to evangelize to those who have been baptized. Oh my goodness, what kind of title is that? I mean, this blow my mind. Okay, anyway, let's go back to that. Deuteronomy, as one of the most, probably most famous, but you wouldn't know his name, but that's one of the commentators, the Bible scholars, and most famous authority on the book of Deuteronomy. In his talk, he said, Deuteronomy is the gospel according to Moses. Like the gospel according to Matthew, gospel according to Mark, Deuteronomy is the gospel according to Moses. Why? Because every time they have to tell the children about the law, they have to say, once upon a time we were slaves in Egypt. That's grace. God deliver us. We don't deserve that. We scream and yell, we complain and so on, we groan and so on. Nothing happened until God intervened. We could not have freed ourselves. Okay? So that's the, okay. And also the law, and I hint here, the law describes how the prodigal son should live with his father after he had returned home. Okay? Now, this is one part that the people from PGC should know by heart by now, because I already mentioned so many times to them. I said, for the prodigal son, when he comes home, the father welcomed him with open arms. So he got this new robe, he got the forgiveness, he got a nice dinner, and he got his sirloin steak, whatever else. Okay, and he got all the nice things, nice clothes, and now the servant's serving him and so on. And then after all this welcome dinner, he said, Daddy, thank you so much for the dinner. I need a pass. I want to go back to my friends. Which friends? Those swine friends. I like camping there. Does that make sense? Does that mean he really returned home? No. So we talk about how the prodigal son should come back. That was the point of the parable. And we emphasize that we use that for evangelism. But lo and behold, that was just half of the story. From now on, now that in order to show that he truly returned home, he has to stay in his father's house. Otherwise, his heart has not returned. His body may have. The Israelites, when their body has left Egypt, their heart did not. Remember? When they faced difficulties, when they had nothing to eat, he complained to Moses. Wish we were still there. We were very, very busy. We had to work our heads off, but we had something to eat. We had houses, although they were miserable houses, but we had houses. Their heart did not leave. Okay, all right. So this is, I don't want to repeat it, it's already, okay. Suffice for me to say, God's righteousness and His mercy are inseparable. Do not think the God of Old Testament only talks about justice, righteousness. Now in the New Testament, God sent Jesus, this is mercy, grace. Those two are not separable. As a matter of fact, I like this phrase. God, I'm quoting people, of course. Only about 10% of the material is original, 90% not. Okay. God's righteousness is not found outside His mercy. The book of Hebrew tells us there's this mercy seat inside inside the temple. And the cover on top of the mercy seat is exactly the same size as the seat itself. It satisfactorily, adequately covers the mercy seat, so that you cannot see that box. It's satisfactory. If we think about God's righteousness or His justice and His grace as separable, someone has said it very well. He says, your God is schizophrenic. Because it's not. Because it's not. Okay, now this is another concept about the law. And people say, why did God give the people the law? How come He's so mean to give people, you can't do this, you can't do this, you have to keep Sabbath, you have to be nice to parents. That's for the children, that's. Why did God ever put something like this? That we have to listen to our parents, we have to honor our parents. My goodness, that's, what kind of God is this? Some Bible scholars found some old manuscripts from in the Near East area. And I think they were written in Babylonian language or so on and so forth. Okay. But those were written by non-Jews. They did not know God. And yet, and we know that, people, you don't need to tell people to be religious. Very often people, we know innately, we need somebody bigger than ourselves. We have, being human, we have that emptiness. So they are no exception, so they pray to their God. But they had no law. So how do they pray to their God? How do they make sacrifices to God? So in the manuscripts, this is what they found. This is one of the prayers. I'm paraphrasing it. Dear God, wherever you are, I'm making this offering to you, but I do not know if this is pleasing in your sight. I try to do good, but I really do not know whether this is good enough for you. I wish I know more about you and what you want, what your wills are, so that I can make meaningful sacrifices to you. I can worship you in a more concrete way. This is the kind of prayer they found. So they were jealous of the Israelites having the law. They were not saying, oh, your God is so mean, he gave you the law. No, they were so jealous. I wish our God would do the same thing. I wish our God would communicate with us so that I know. Putting in contemporary terms, I said, it's like you have to go for an exam, but you don't know the syllabus. That's a very sinking feeling. I have gone enough through many exams, and I know that kind of sinking feeling. Okay, I remember one time, it was not my exam, but there was someone else's exam, and my fellow physician was one of the examiners. And he told me this story. He said, well, I tried to calm them down. I gave them coffee, and some of them like juice. Guess what? They keep pouring the cream into the juice. They just that nervous, They were just that nervous. I said, I've been there. I know how they felt. But remember, imagine, exam without the syllabus. It's just not. So do not think about the law as something evil. This God is so mean. No. God, the law is a gift from God. The law is just a syllabus, not a judge. So don't blame the syllabus for our failures. Get another point? Because we so always say, if there was no law, then I don't have to, no, Jesus don't have to die, and then we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that, and so on. The problem is not with the law. That's just the syllabus. That was mentioned in Romans. We blame the law. God, it was all your fault. You gave us the law. That's why we're sinners. But Adam and Eve sinned long before there was law. Okay. Mercy and grace. I think that people in this church have heard about this definition already. Mercy is avoiding the punishment that we deserve. Grace is receiving benefits that we don't deserve. There's a difference between grace and mercy. Okay? Okay. Now, note that we are saved by our faith. We're saved by grace. Through faith. We are not saved by our faith. Okay, if someone had fallen into a well, or hole, whatever, a cave, whatever, someone outside gave him a rope. Say, hang on to that one, I'll pull you out. That rope is faith. But that someone else, the strong man up there, is grace. You can have as much faith as you want, but if without grace,